it's informational only, right? I know that
No,
we've
we
got
do have 2 votes actually,
yeah.
but we do
So
have a quorum. So
okay, so we've got a quorum. Let me just pull up uh well, why don't we go ahead and call the meeting to order? I don't know that we have a president right now, correct?
no, I was going to ask Annalise to run the meeting, but she's not here. So how about you?
I'll go ahead and call a pin one meeting to order. Let's see, we've got
Here she
wow, you
comes.
think I've heard this enough? I should know how to do this. Um, you want to walk me through what we got to do?
Well, we can call the roll, and I'm happy to do that for you.
Okay, great.
Hi, Annalise. So Tom Collette,
Present.
Jeff Noodleman,
Here, present.
Annalise Kohler,
Present.
Claudio Campusano.
Present.
PJ Christopher is not present. There are 4 members present. You have a quorum.
Right.
And Annalise, I was going to ask you to run the meeting, but Claudio stepped in already. So,
Wonderful. Appreciate it.
so the first item on the agenda is an IGA with the city of Portland.
Right, that's me. There in your packet, starting on page 2, there's a 1-page summary of this topic. This is an intergovernmental agreement between the city of Portland and Penn One to allow the city to transfer funds to Penn One to pay for the design of the PIR pump station replacement. So as you know, the city had was awarded a grant from FEMA to pay for 75% of this design work. The city is also contributing the remaining 25% for the local match to completely to pay for not only contractor work but also staff time to manage this project. Great idea. We will have requirements as we manage the project. We will have requirements to comply with the FEMA grants, and both our finance department is well aware of that, as well as procurement is well aware of that, and we are proceeding accordingly. So just as a refresher, I come to this board a little over a year ago to talk about this project and the idea that we'll need an IGA to actually transfer funds from one entity to another. In that conversation, we talked about the concept of ownership of the asset, and y'all gave me some direction to do so as part of that IGA negotiation. Those negotiations finished, and let's see, it's recital 7 on page 1 of the agreement references the ownership concept, and in the end, it says, quote, "Once the constructed facility meets all testing criteria, it is operational, and sufficient easements or other real estate agreements are recorded to support Penn One's long-term access operations, maintenance, and capital improvements needs of the PIR pump station." So once all those conditions are met, the Penn One would take ownership of that pump station. You should know you already have that pump station on our insurance records. So we insure that pump station for if there's damage. But otherwise, former chair James Allison and MCD staff negotiated the agreement, and city council in their meeting last week approved it in this form. So we're bringing it to y'all to have an opportunity to comment on any of the content and discuss those comments, and if there are changes that are needed, we can note those here. We'll have to go back to city council, have them review the revised version of this IGA and vote on it again. if you have no changes, then we'll just move forward to approve it as is. So that's my summary. Any questions? Tom?
Tom?
I'm just wondering with the budget you put forward, I think it's one of the exhibits. Is there a contingency built in?
There is. It's just 2.3 million. At this stage of the project, usually you have at least a 30% contingency. Honestly, it's even up to 50% because it's so early in the project. Honestly, I'd have to go back into into our spreadsheets to confirm what that number is, but there definitely is contingency in there.
Thank you.
And yeah, and just to confirm, this is for design for the pump station.
That's correct, and I'm glad you highlighted that again. This is not the entire project. So all this does, it does quite a bit, but it takes the project from concept to construction documents. So when this project is over, we'll have a bid set that we could use to solicit construction contractors' bids. But there will be another point in time for y'all to reconvene and talk about whether or not it's the right timing for that construction project. We'll obviously need to collect some funding to move into that phase of the project. It's going to, the last count I saw, it's about $9 million to construct the facility. So it's not an insubstantial amount, but the design itself will take about 3 years, maybe a little less. So yeah, knock on wood, if everything goes well, we'll be in the new district, and the new district board will have this conversation.
Okay.
Questions?
Hi, yeah, great job. 'Cause I know this is going on a long time. And yeah, I was aware that it was just for design, but you raised a great point, or whoever did, and juxtaposed with you pointing out paragraph 7 there about the ownership, because if this IGA specifically now, or at least the funding piece, focus on that, is just for the design, which is a huge part, it gets us there. When it does come time to use the design drawings, etc., to bid out the project itself, I guess we can cross that bridge when we get there, perhaps, but who would be bidding the project? Because if we don't have any ownership, it says, we don't have any ownership in it until such time as the thing is up and working. So that's kind of an odd situation to be in.
I would agree. I think we will continue to have a relationship with the city of Portland to ensure that we get through the next phase. We have no easements on that property. It's on Parks or City of Portland's property. And so as such, until unless something changes, it will be a continuing partnership into construction.
Yeah, that makes sense. But again, I guess looking at how a third-party vendor contractor is going to look at it and says, okay, great, I'm happy to enter into this contract, but who am I entering into it with? And who do I know who's going to pay the bill? So it will have to be resolved before construction, probably.
Makes sense.
Bill, do you mind if I just add a little bit here?
Absolutely.
So, Jeff, we have talked about this, and we've talked about it with the city as well. Right now, all of the grant funding is actually applied for and being passed through to us to be able to do the design work. And so I think the answer to your question is it depends. if we can continue to get grant support through the city of Portland, if they're successful at continuing to apply for grant funding, then we would want to leave this arrangement as it is so that we can continue to receive those funds and be able to do the construction and get reimbursement for the construction. If the construction transitions and looks like it would be funded by the GO bond, then we'll want to look at the ownership, the transfer of the ownership of the property prior to funding that with the GO bond so that we're in line with bond council and in compliance with that spending. So I think that we'll continue to have these conversations either with this board or with the urban board, depending on where we're at in the process. And it will just depend on the source of funding as to when we need to transfer that asset so that it is identified as one of the urban district's assets. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you, Lori. Anything else from folks? Okay, if there's no further discussion or questions. Why don't we bring it to a vote? Do I hear a motion?
And if it helps, there's a motion at the top of page 2 in your meeting packet, or you can wing it.
I've got it open here. I move to approve and authorize the executive director or their designee to sign an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Portland to design and permit a full replacement of the PIR pump station.
I'll second it.
Right. We have a motion and a second. So do a roll call. I don't know if there's any particular order. I'm going to go in order of who I'm seeing on the screen. Jeff Noodleman,
Aye.
Annalise Kohler,
Aye.
Tom Collette,
Aye.
and let's see, PJ's not here. So
Yeah,
Claudio Camposano.
I'm here.
Oh.
I'm here.
Oh, you are there. There you are. Sorry,
Hi.
my Zoom is a different format than usual.
No worries,
PJ
man.
Christopher
Hi.
and Claudio Camposano. I vote aye. Thank you to staff on this. For bringing this through the city process, for bringing it to this point. To James Allison, who's not here today, but has been instrumental in making this grant come together, and project managing this on the city side. So yeah, looking forward to keeping this critical piece of infrastructure moving along.
Thanks, all.
All right. So what do we have next? We've got, I guess, board president is the second item on the agenda. So we mentioned James. We are without a board president, so I guess it's our job to come up with a new one. So is there any discussion that folks would like to have about that? Any suggestions for president?
I would offer the name of Claudio Camposano into the ring for
Mhm.
president of the Penn One.
I'll second that if there needs to be a second.
I'll third it if there needs to be a third.
And here I was hoping that there'd been some kind of putsch, all right. Well, we've got a suggestion. I guess we should have a formal motion, but it does sound like there's some consensus brewing. But why don't we get a formal motion just for the heck of it?
I'll
Your-
do a
go ahead, Pete.
motion to elect Claudio Campuzano as the president of the Penn One owners or Penn One Association for the next term. Does that work, Wendy?
Not rocket science. Good job.
All right. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right. We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? I have counter arguments, but
Thank you for your service, Claudio. We really appreciate it.
Couldn't be in
Sure.
better hands.
Mhm. Full confidence.
All right. Well, hearing no further discussion, why don't we go ahead and bring it to a vote? Annalise Kohler,
Aye.
Jeff Noodleman,
Aye.
PJ Christopher,
Aye.
Tom Collette.
Not hearing counter arguments from Claudio, I vote aye.
I'm not done yet now. I guess I will also vote aye for the sake of unanimity.
Thanks.
All right.
Congratulations, Claudio. It is, I believe it's an
Thank you.
annual term.
Claudio, I think that's the part where the president says it passes unanimously.
Thank you. Oh, wait. Sounds like you got better skills than I do. All right.
On behalf of your staff, we do appreciate all of your service, truly. I know you guys have a lot to do and you could do other things than this. So thank you very much for your help.
No, thank you. It's a pleasure working with this staff, and this is important work. So and I appreciate all my fellow board members. So and I'm placing their trust in me, as you know, misplaced as it might be. All right. Well, this is exciting. So do we have any other business for today?
Yes, Claudio, you had indicated in an email a desire to have the board discuss the upcoming vote at the urban district. And so I wanted to check in with people's schedules and also confirm that, you know, that can be possible. Exploring a couple options. One is just moving the format up by 1 week. So it would be, instead of September 26th, September 19th. And so I wanted to ask everyone's availability on September 19th.
Yeah,
By way
and
of
just to-
context for the board, that staff is hoping to get direction from the urban board at their September 21st meeting that we have permission as a staff to proceed with seeking legislative modifications to ORS 550, the enabling legislation of the new urban district, to effect two changes. One, to allow the continued use of assessments on the managed floodplain to collect operating revenue from properties on the floodplain, and the ability to impose an intergovernmental flood safety benefit tax on the cities in the district and the county for unincorporated areas. And that would be the new tax on the entire district. The cities in the county would be allowed to collect said revenue as an offset in any way that's legal within their power. So that's the question. Can we proceed with making amendments?
Yeah, thanks for giving that context, Jim. And so really what we're hoping for is, you know, the reason why I wanted to advance it is so that we can actually have a discussion as a board, get a briefing from staff on the proposed funding structure and legislative changes, so that we can, as a board, give direction to Rochelle Altman, who we've chosen as our representative to the Urban Flood Safety Water Quality District Interim Board, give her direction on what our, where we stand with regard to that vote. So really wanted to kind of make sure that we got that information first, had a chance to discuss so that we could give her clear direction.
You know, I see PJ just put in a comment in the chat about time. I think it was scheduled for 1. I can do that. It looks like he can't afternoons. I have every Tuesday, I've got an exec meeting at 8 a.m. Or 8:30, sorry.
Are you free by 10, Jeff?
It'd be pushing it, but I can break out if it's good for everybody else, I can do it.
And if it's only an hour, I could miss the 1 to 2, but so there's some leeway, Wendy, on the 1 to 2, but after 2, I'm fully committed. So
Thanks for clarifying, everyone. And Tom, you're good?
Yeah.
I would also say for those board members interested, the Urban District will be discussing this at their work session on September 6th at 1 o'clock. So that's an opportunity to hear the discussion so far. And then we do have a more formal presentation on what Jim outlined on the next format agenda. So that would be a joint presentation. And that's sort of the possibility that we're exploring.
Sounds like we'll get back to you with the next steps on the schedule. And we're happy to try and give you some chance to understand it before you authorize.
Great. Well, that's the input I needed. I really appreciate y'all checking your calendars.
All right. Well, thank you all. Is there any other business, new business for the group? All right.
Thanks for
Congratulations,
stepping up,
Claudia.
Claudia.
Yep, absolutely. It's a pleasure. What else do we need to do to close this down? I always forget the words.
You can adjourn the meeting.
We can adjourn.
Drop the
Wonderful.
mic. Drop the mic.
All right.
Thank you all. Call if you have any
One more.
questions.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.